All right, Algebra 2 people. Today we're doing Unit 2, Lessons 4, 5, 6, and 7. The end of Unit 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it should be April 6th. April 6th, 4, 6. All right, what was in this unit? Domain, range, one-to-one, inverses, topics like that. So this first one is a range question. In the following graph, the height of an object in feet is given as a function of time in seconds. Which of the following would be the range? So a little quick review here. Domain are the inputs, the x's, and range is always the outputs, the y. So I'm looking at the outputs. So I'm looking for like the highest point. There's the height. How high does it go? 576. And how low does it go? Not here. That's not the lowest. It hits the ground over here at 0. So what is the range? What am I hitting? I'm going from 0 to 576, which is choice 4. Now, if they change this to domain, what would be the answer then? Well, domain is x's, so you say, okay, you start here, start at 0, and how far over do you go? Then you would go to 11, so then it would be choice 2. So, but this one's range. That's the domain. All right, which of the following is not in the domain? Not in the domain. So I call it the nasty problem we have in math, that you can't divide by 0. So this 2x plus 5, not allowed to be 0. So when's that going to happen? If I take away 5, and then if I divide by 2, I'm going to get, see, I would leave it negative 5 halves. They changed it to negative 2 1/2. Same thing. All right. If the point 4, negative 2 lies on the graph of f of x, which point must be on the f negative 1? What does that mean? F negative 1, that means inverse. Inverse. That's the symbol for inverse. And I say it all the time. What do you got to know about inverse? Switch x and y. That's the key to inverse. So there's x, 4. There's y, negative 2. The inverse has to hit negative 2, 4. I'm just switching those coordinates around. So that's choice 1. All right. We also hit piecewise functions, which is nothing more than a piece of one function and a piece of another function. So in this case, we got a line, and that you should recognize as a parabola. In fact, I can even tell you where the turning point is. That was something we learned pretty recently. The turning point would be positive 3, negative 1, but we're not asking that question. We just want to know, hey, what's the y-intercept? The y-intercept, and ask that question too many times in this book. What do you got to do? You got to input 0. So what is g of 0? That's all. But the decision we have to make is, do we use the linear part or the parabola? What are we going to pick? Well, 0 is not less than negative 2. 0 is bigger than negative 2, right? 0 is greater than or equal to negative 2, right? So that makes this true. So we want to use that part. So I'm going to put 0 in there. And I'm going to get negative 3 squared, which is positive 9. Take away 1, which is 8. All right. Which of the following graph is one-to-one function? First of all, it's got to be a function, so it's got to pass the vertical line test. And for example, this fails the vertical line test. So if I said, which one of these is not a function, you'd say 1. All right, so this is not function, not function. The other 3 are all functions, but one-to-one is a special type of function. It has to pass the horizontal line test. See, this is an example of what they call 2-to-1, 2 points. I'm hitting it twice. This is many-to-1, hitting it several times. The only one that's going to be one-to-one is choice 3, passes the vertical and the horizontal line test. We like these functions because these functions have inverses that are also functions. All right. Number 6, it's got several parts. And we got this crazy graph here. It breaks apart. It's got an open circle there and a closed circle there. So if I said at 1, if the input is 1, this would have been a good question. What's f of 1? And the answer would be up here at 6, not down there. Okay. But the question they got here is, what's the domain? The domain. Okay. Don't forget, domain is x. So I'm looking at the x-axis. How far left can I go and still get an output? Right there. There's there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 places back. And I keep hitting the function, right? I keep hitting it. When I get here, it breaks apart, but I'm still hitting it at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from up there, -9 to 7. That would be my domain. Okay. Explain why the range does not include -2. Well, range is y. There's -2. See, basically we're saying draw a line there. How often do you hit? Well, we don't hit at all. And that would be how I would explain it. Why do I not get -2? Because y equals -2 is not hitting this graph, this function. Okay, so there's no input that's going to give me this output. Now, if I pick +2, or maybe pick something a little bit better. If I picked, what is this right there? If I picked 6, yeah, oh yeah, I hit it right here at 1. I also hit it over here at 4. It'd be a couple places where I would hit 6. So 6 is in the range, but -2 is not. State the coordinate of all turning points. That's pretty simple. Turning point, let's circle them. There's a turning point. It was going down, now it's going up. It was decreasing and increasing, and then up here, there's another turning point right there. It's going up and it's going down, so it turns around right there. So what are those coordinates? This one here is back 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, down 9, back 3, down 9, and 3, looks like 8. 3, 8. Those are the two turning points. Explain why this function does not have an inverse that's also a function. Because it is not 1 to 1. It has to be 1 to 1 in order for its inverse to be a function. All right, speaking of inverse, and again, what's the key? Switching x with y. So this first one here, like where's y? F of x is y. What we're going to do next, we're going to switch x with y. And now we're going to solve for y. Take away 8. And then divide by 5. And I'm going to leave it like that. There's my answer. This is the inverse. Could put a little -1 if you like. There's the inverse. And if you think about it, this makes sense. First I'm multiplying by 5, and then I'm adding 8. I want to do the opposite, which is subtract 8 and then divide by 5. So I'd say, like, pause the video, try this one on your own, see if you can get it before I do it. All right, I'm going to do it now, though. I'm going to switch x with y. Now I'm going to put that over 1, cross multiply. Add 7 to both sides. Divide by 2. All right, so there it is. 3x plus 7 over 2. That's the inverse of that function. All right, domain and range. All right, you could use your calculator. Let's haven't used that in a while, so let's pull this out. Let's go to y equals -3 parentheses x minus 7 square it, add 4. Now I'm going to try zoom 6. Let's see what it looks like. I know it's going to be a parabola. And it's a downward parabola. Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, you could say we're the vertex point. You should recognize this. Oh yeah, the vertex point is 7, 4. Right there. 7. Back to the graph. 7, 4. So the question is, what's the domain? Well, I'm not running into any nasty problem. I'm not going to divide by 0, and I'm also not going to take any square roots. So the domain is everything, and that symbol is all real numbers. But the range is from here down. And where's here? You didn't really need the calculator for that. 7, 4. So the range is from 4 down. Now be careful. You want to say from -infinity up to 4, including 4. You always go from smallest to biggest. This is kind of similar. You can put in your graphing calculator, but again, it's going to be upward. It's going to look like a half a parabola. If you put it on your graphing calculator, and it's going to start at -4, -6. Okay. So put in your calculator and look at it, but I'm telling you, oh, well, it starts here at -4. Back here, well, that's back 4 places. Back 4 places. I'm trying to draw a picture of what it would look like. Back 4 places and down 6. So the domain would be from -4, and it's going to go to the right, positive infinity. Never reach that. And the range is from -6, and it's going up, so to infinity. So I encourage you to put this in your graphic calculator, take a look at it, so it makes more sense to you, but it's just at half a parabola. All right, so once again, what are you going to do? You're going to bust out the independent study, and then you're going to write down your answers to the multiple choice questions, and then whatever the free responses. You're going to kind of, if it's part A, B, C, like we had on this, you're going to, D, tell me what you got. And then there's a few you might have to show work, like I did show work on a couple of these problems, and then take a picture of it, and then send it back to me, and give it a grade. All right, hope everybody's being safe out there.